Hey everyone, welcome to your full moon activation. This is Kenlin, and it's the full moon in Capricorn as the sun moves into Cancer on the solstice. So here are the dates. The 20th of June, the sun moves into Cancer, 0 degrees, another axis point, world axis point, signaling a change for the whole second half of the year. I've talked about that in my weekly update for June 16th. And then shortly thereafter, on the 21st of June, depending on where you live, could be the 22nd, early in the morning, the moon moves into its opposite position of the sun and is a full moon in Capricorn. So this is a very special moon, and I want to talk about this. I already did a video, and then I decided I wasn't going to post it, and I'm doing this again because I had to contemplate even more. What is this double Capricorn moon trying to teach us? Really interesting. And because it's Capricorn, it's really practical. So let's dive into it a little bit. This moon is not very comfortable because we have a T square with Neptune. And that obfuscates, blurs, confuses our sense of reality. But it could also take us into a higher octave of love and awakening. So let's opt for that. And for the parts of our lives that are not clear, just hold space for them becoming clear when the time is right. So I'm going to screen share. I've never done this before, but I had to go back to my moon and you when I was kind of, what is this Cancer full moon? Sorry, Capricorn full moon all about? Let me screen share what I wrote inside the moon and you. So you can see on the screen for June, some of you maybe have seen this before. The Moon in You is my guidebook I do every year, embodying feminine leadership through living the cycles of the moon. And if we fast forward, you can get this for free. I always offer it for free on my website, and I'll put a link here. Let's fast forward ourselves, not too fast, to the 21st, 6:07 p.m. Pacific time. So it's the 22nd in a lot of places. Now, the full moon is in Capricorn. Look at that degree, 1 degree of Capricorn. So think about it this way. In whole house astrology, each of the houses are 30 degrees, equal 30 degrees. So when the full moon in Capricorn is at 1 degree, it's opposite the sun in Gemini, also at 1 degree, because that's what makes a full moon. I'm sorry, I just said that wrong. The sun in Cancer. Sometimes in these activations, like keeping all of this straight is like the hardest part of the job. So the sun is in Cancer. It just moved over, just like the moon itself. Now, the moon travels faster than the sun. So while the sun hit that 0 degree mark the day before, the moon is catching up and then it's going to surpass it. So here's what I wrote in that 21st of June, that this is the first of 2 consecutive full moons in Capricorn. And we're going to be, and I'll show you that, we're going to see that in July. We have also on the 21st of July at 29 degrees. So can you imagine? I was starting to say that about the 30 degrees. Here we are. We're going to touch in on the early stages of Capricorn, and then we're going to travel through the Capricorn mansion, getting everything that Capricorn wants us to get, and then finally cross over. That's super rare. So we really want to pay attention to what is Capricorn, especially in our charts, trying to tell us. And I'm going to give you the big theme that I set forth here as the keynote. And then you get to take this back and look at where does Capricorn fall in your chart, and perhaps what are some of the lessons that you're learning in the Capricorn philosophy or teaching or lesson. Okay, so the keynote I wrote here is that it's going to bring some emotional confusion because we have a tight T square to Neptune. So that means the sun, the moon, and Neptune are opposing each other, and it forms a T-square. That's going to be the energetics of some kind of obstacle that we have to overcome. So always these T-squares, I have one natally in my chart with Uranus, the sun, and the moon. And yeah, they don't make life easy. And you can accomplish a lot because the T-square challenges you to accomplish a lot. So just keep that in mind so you don't give up. Now, here's the gold here. The axis of the Cancer Capricorn, they're 180 degrees apart, and they represent inner life and outer life. So let's really put on for a minute the Cancerian way of being, and it's in your heart, it's your emotions, it's your feels, it's like where you want to crawl into your shell with a fuzzy blanket and tell everyone to leave you alone and watch romantic comedies. I get it. But then Capricorn, the opposite, and this is how the zodiac is set up with the equal and opposite, because we live in polarity. How brilliant that it's like, no, 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 I want to go out there and I want to achieve. This is my outer life, my reputation, my career, my beingness, who I am, the way that the sun shines through me as reflected in my outer life, my daily, my not daily, but my service. The daily is your 6th house, so you could have that as well in the mix. Okay, so here's the question. Does the structure of your outer life serve not only your legacy, but your current emotional and spiritual needs? Now, this is busting me big time. Success in one area of your life to the detriment of the others isn't really success. And yet Capricorn knows that it takes discipline and focus to build something that lasts. Find a way to honor the both and you will get another pass at this next month, right? So I'm going to stop the screen share here and come back to you. Yeah. So last night I have a dream. I've been working a lot on Goddess Convergence. Some of you know I've put in massive amounts of hours in a short period, like 4 to 5 weeks. I've been working like round the clock. And I had a dream last night that I was in a Japanese corporation and we had to work every day. And it wasn't a sweat factory. It was like, like a white collar corporation. Have you ever heard those stories of that culture where the person's married to the corporation and then they bring the family into the corporate activities? But it's really all about, that's your life, your social life, your work life, everything is about the corporation. I don't know if that's really true today, but certainly that was in my psyche, probably from movies. And I had that dream, just pulled it right out of the file. And I was thinking in the dream, this is so stupid. Why would anyone want to work every day? And yet for the past 5 weeks, I was working every day, which can become an addiction, a habit, if I don't interrupt it. And it's uncomfortable to interrupt it because I'm used to that pattern and I'm used to responding to needs right away. I'm used to like getting on it, making sure everything, all the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed. And that's really important when you're launching something new. And I said that in that very, in the writing, it's like Capricorn knows how important that is. Capricorn's not trying to tell you to give up your standard and to not be in excellence. But Capricorn is also opposite Cancer, which is like, yo, hold on a second. How's your self-care? So I find particularly the irony here, and I'm loving it because I always get the teachings of these particular activations, just as you do. I'm a conduit and a channel. So I found myself today on doing my medicine wheel practice on this outcropping, this overlook in the hiking trail that I go in. And I was just, because it's a full moon, I always face the west. I look at the ocean, I can actually see the ocean. And I do this practice, and I want to invite you into this practice for this full moon. Before I do, let's say a minute about what it is you're going to take away from this transmission. And then we get to, in 1 month, check in with each other. How did you do in that equation? Because Capricorn loves responsibility. And we have like a Pisces, a Saturn in Pisces going retrograde at the end of the month, right in the middle of this whole thing. And it's going to ask, yeah, so what are the proper ways that I'm being responsible? What are the authentic ways? What is truly mine to do? And where have I been overgiving at the detriment to my personal self? We're moving into a time, especially as the feminine, where we must live this both and. We cannot afford to fry ourselves out. And I'm not saying, I'm not Monday night quarterbacking my decision. It was great. It was a perfect decision. And for the time, I knew I had it in me. And now I know that that's complete. My body is telling me, my psyche is telling me it is complete. So now I get to bring in that both and how funny is that, that this is the timing of that both and. So as divine feminine women, we must walk that yoga of achievement and showing up, because we know we're here for a mission. We know we are, or we wouldn't have incarnated during this time. And at the same time, we can source universal energies. And that's really how I made it through the last 4 or 5 weeks. I would go to that outcrop and I would do my medicine wheel practice. And I would, and I still do, I did it today, source universal energies from the Mother Earth, and from the celestial world, which we could call Father Sky, in the duality of masculine and feminine. And so I feel like I made it through with that. And we have to do those kinds of things because our physical bodies, especially with all the toxins that, we drink and breathe and eat, as well as just the disruption, to our energetic field through cell phones, through noise, light, vibration, like lots of people, all kinds of things. So we really do have to tend to this temple, which is a frequency temple, and support it so we can do our mission. So wherever you find yourself, kind of take a little stock right now of where do you find yourself in that continuum of Capricorn and Cancer, and see where you can swing more into the middle, just like a pendulum. Notice if you've been over here and then you were over here, and you're coming back to swinging in the center, so that it is truly a both and. All right. So a couple of things I did as we're entering into this full moon, and I always like to acknowledge a full moon with a letting go. So this is going to require, at this moment, a letting go, and then we'll move into a Cancer new moon, and that's where we receive new codes. And then we move into another Capricorn full moon, and we get to assess, how did we do in this trajectory? So one of the things, I'm going to kind of turn my body, but I like to inhale all the way up, and then I like to just just bring it all the way out. I mean, just with that motion, kind of all the way up. You can see my hands are like this. And then exhale and swish and make a sound and come all the way out. I just like to do a few of those as a ritual for letting go. Another one is I tuck my thumbs into my palms, fold my fingers over, make these fists, and I run them over my crown. And if you know breath of fire, you can add breath of fire in it, which is an equal inhale and exhale through the nose. And it has you pump your stomach, your navel. So you're using your power from your navel to energize you. And this is also just clearing and cleaning your field, getting rid of anger. And here's the thing, and this is what I was trying to share earlier. It's not about saying whatever you did was wrong. Astrology is not like that. Oh, and we take all these waves, and new things are spotlit. And that's what the full moon does, is it spotlights something. And we could have been unaware of it. I was aware of what I was doing in terms of working really hard. And now I noticed a shift. And so I'm not judging the past. I'm moving forward in a way that has this new revelation, the new truth coming through my embodiment, saying, okay, now we don't want to live married to the corporation. We want to live married to the goddess. And her service in that way is complete. Your service to her in that way is complete. And now she's asking this, and let's say it that way for both of us. She's asking us to move into the both and. Yeah, here we go. Let's do that. Let's do a little swirling around as we take in the both and. Yeah, it's entirely possible because we are a living embodiment of the truth of polarity. We're a living embodiment of the truth of polarity, heaven on earth. That's us right here. We are not four-legged, we're two-legged. We can look down, we can look up. We are the bridge species between heaven and earth, between the mother, between the father, between the earth, between the sky and the stars, from where we came. Right? So here's another way we get to integrate the polarity of inner and outer, inner and outer, inner and outer, right? Like there's so many movements, there's so many prayer mudras we can make with our body for this Capricorn full moon. So I invite you into one of those that I just shared with you. I did some of them spontaneously. You too can do it. And let's check in a month and see, how did we do? How was it? What did it feel like? Was it easier than we thought? Let's ask ourselves, how much better can it get than this? And may all beings benefit from the merits of our efforts. Namaste.